This is RTT with Terry the Tiger.
Thank you everybody for joining in on another episode of Random Talk Time with me, your host, Terry the Tiger. As always, check out Cactus Chick Creations over on Instagram. She does have an Etsy shop as well where you can buy custom t-shirts. She also has her own t-shirts you could pick and choose from $15 to $18 depending on what you go on. She sells sweatshirts for $25, signs, things like that, $15. Youth and infants are about $10. Check out her stuff over on Instagram and Etsy shop. It is great. So I have been MIA for a little while just because life's been crazy, and gonna go ahead and say it. Health is wealth, and only thing that truly matters is your health. So take care of yourself, whether it is drinking less sodas, sweets, dark meats, just get some greens in your life, just water, drink water, just health is wealth, okay? So this weekend coming up is UFC 256, I believe. Cyril Gane and Derek Lewis, my bad. And this thing is so stupid. I'm just so annoyed with it just because they're fighting for an interim title when Francis Ngannou is the champion and there's nothing wrong with him. And Dana's explanation of why they're doing it, it's just dumb. Don't like it. I buy every single pay-per-view. Every single one. And I'm like really on the fence of getting this one tomorrow. And I hope Lewis wins. I know he's going to. I don't like Gane. He's boring. I don't like anything about the dude. And everything that I have been seeing on Twitter and Instagram. By the way, this is my little rant right now about this UFC mess that's going on. And I don't like to get in arguments with people on Twitter. Just everybody has their own opinion. And that's why I kind of stopped getting on Facebook. And it's just, when it comes to the UFC and the fighters and their pay, the minor leagues, as you could say, there's no money in that. Every other sport that has a minor leagues that is a professional, and let me rephrase that, every sport that has a major leagues where their players and their athletes are getting paid what people call worth it, it's because the minor leagues make money to where what the UFC fighters are kind of getting paid, that's what they get paid. So when they make pro, of course you're going to have to be higher than what you were in the minors, and that's exactly what happens here in the UFC. And other organizations also do this, just it's not known that those other organizations like ONE and Bellator, their owners, the people who back and fund them, have a little money of their own, but their fighters don't get paid millions of dollars. So they get paid what they are, average rise. I looked these up at once. I don't have it now, and I don't care to because this is all opinionated. My opinion is you can't make millions if you're coming from organizations that only make thousands. And at the end of the day, you're going to have people from other countries who $50,000 is a lot of money for their country. In America, that's $50,000. And I'm a normal person who is not living paycheck to paycheck or working at a minimum wage job, who only makes somewhere $20,000 to $40,000 a year, maybe $50,000, depending on their job spot. that's what you make a year when this one person made it in one fight. And if they fight twice a year, there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to make that work until they're making that big bucks. And unfortunately, it is true. If you lose, you're not going to make money. That's absurd. It's insane. Again, you're not coming from an organization like the NFL, where their college, which is like, what colleges make thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars off of these college players who are finally getting able to make their own money. And it's not even money off of the school. And if it is, I didn't read that. From what I was understanding, they're now able to get their own sponsors. The schools make thousands of dollars, if not millions, some of those schools, off of their college players. So when you go into the professional league, the NFL or the MLB or the NHL, and you're making your millions, it's because you were profitable in college, in the sport you came from before. And I'm sorry, it just doesn't happen in the UFC. Because it doesn't happen in the MMA. In the world of MMA, you're not going to come from a minor league like the PFL or whatever, or any of the other ones before Dana bought them all. And Cage Warriors, King of the Cage, all of them. They're not making hundreds of $1,000s. So why would you expect to make millions in the other organization? If you're only making like $10,000, $20,000, $100,000 should suffice. And if it doesn't, then you can choose to do a different job and be a boxer or go somewhere else. And if you have a problem with that, then thank God you're not a fighter. Thank God you're not doing that, because this is absurd. But back to the whole Lewis and Gain this weekend. I don't know if I'm going to buy it. I'm kind of wanting to, just because Derek Lewis is really making this look like it's going to be a fight. And I would love to see Gain get knocked out. And Derek does look like he's different from the last time, and when he was thrown at the title instead. Now he's here wanting the title, fighting for it. I don't know. I hear it's going to be available in a couple of weeks. I'll know who the winner is by then, but I'll still want to watch it. So I don't know. I might get it. I may not. But anyways, today I was wanting to come and hit you hard with a little bit of some Funko, just because I have a little cousin who is into it, and he's the one who got me into them. And my mom and they were just talking, and I've heard them all say this, like, what are they? They're just little dolls. My mom has said it before, because I collect other things, and lots of other things, and my mom has questioned these dolls, because she's like, out of everything you've collected, my plushed animals, which everybody say those eyes are weird, these dolls are weirder, she says. And she's like, they're more expensive than my little dolls that I get, but I like them. I don't know, something about them, they're just cool. In my collection, I have like 13, I think, maybe 14. Then I have a couple of like the pocket size, some the Pez, with those little things. I have those ones. So it just depends. But what are they? What are Pops for? What is the point of them other than collecting? Well, that's literally it. It is for collecting. It's like a nostalgic type thing, You just see an action figure or a little toy of something you like. I have Selena, so it's cool just to see a little pop star Selena that was made in within the last probably 5 years, maybe even 2 years, and she's been gone for 20 years, and she's still around. So there's the nostalgic of that. I have the Black Panther, which that was made before he passed away, but I have that, so that's cool. So if they do replace the Black Panther, well, I have his version of that one. And that could be worth something, later on. Some of them are worth lots of money. Some of them are not worth that much. You pay like $10, 11, some of them $15. Some of them I found like $2 for. They're just different, but they're so detailed in what they have, what they are. Like, I have this Majin Buu, which is probably my second favorite one out of my collection. And in my Majin Buu one, if you've ever seen Dragon Ball Z, it's you meet him in later seasons. I think it's season 9, season 8, around there. And it's when he's eating the candy. And so this is Majin Buu with a lollipop, because they have so many different styles, I guess, or poses, I should say. So I've seen this one. I have another Majin Buu up there. He's like purple, so he's not holding anything, so they're just different poses. So this one with the lollipop, though, it's just cool, because if you've seen the movie or the cartoon, he carries a lollipop at one point, and he's eating a whole bunch of snacks at one point, and it just goes back to that episode, and you can just see the detail in it, and I think it's really cool. And you just see all his little air bubbles or whatever, because when he get angry, he would steam out of those. And he got his cape on there. You got the M. It's really cool. I like this one, And so pretty much you collect them, and if you've ever seen them, they're just these little square rectangle or squared boxes, and they have a number on the top right. Well, the number is irrelevant if you are just grabbing it just because it's something that you like, because that's what my sister does. My sister has a smaller collection than I do, of like the Winifred Sisters, I think they're called, or the Sanderson sisters, sorry, from Hocus Pocus. She has one of the poses of all three of them. And I think I got her one other thing from some show she talked about when she was younger, Sten and Rumpy, I think it was, and I think I bought her Sten or Rumpy, one of them. And hers is just for nostalgic, But my little cousin, on the other hand, now he collects them, and he just collects them. He has a whole bunch of them, ranging from cereal boxes. He's got the little Twinkie dude. He's got Tupac and Ice Cube together, and he's got Chucky, and he's got some other animes from these cartoons shows like Naruto and some other show that he was telling me about. And he just has a whole bunch of different ones. Like, he has a few different cereal boxes, because they have like Captain Crunch and just a whole bunch of things like that. They have a whole bunch of categories as well. So they have cereals, or brands, I think it's called, and pretty much you just find they have the Ronald McDonald, the burglar dude, and just a few of them. So depending on what kind of person you are, the numbers means things for those, because now the smaller numbers are some of the ones that were made first. Some of them were made at the beginning. Some of them just, those were the first poses that they're coming up with. And from what the research that I have done on Pops is that the numbers, since they've been around in like 2008, 2010, the Pops has always created them with like 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10, 20, 26, 27, 28, like that, skipping numbers pretty much, so that way later on, when they got an idea or eventually the rights to make the figurines, they went back and then added to that, and was like, okay, now we can fill in 6 and 7, and now we got 10 and 11, and so on and so forth. And so eventually you can collect them all, because they're all in the same poses or same grouping. Most of the figurines have the group, I guess you could say, that they were built or made with. So like the other one I have up here is Thanos in the garden, specifically, because he is 579. So I have him from 579, which is one of the last ones in the group. And then there's 578, which is Bro Thor. And I have a different Thor also in my collection, which is not part of this collection. but that one is just Thor. He has short hair and when he's with the axe hammer instead of with the hammer. So then they have those types of, numbers like that too, because each one is in a different type of series and groups and a pose. So some of the numbers are in order with the groups, some of them are not. So these ones right here, though, like I was saying, the Thanos, it's 579, which is the highest number down, and it does take 78, 77, 76, 75, 74, 73, 480, 479, and then 478. Those are all in the same collection of the Avengers Endgame. And that, there's a couple of Thors in that one. So the numbers are just that. And you can see if you have the full collection by the numbers and, keep them in order. So that's kind of how I'm doing it right now. And then eventually, once I get some that are collide with each other, then I'd put those numbers, next to each other. But then, so you have the different categories, which are going to be on the top left corner of the box. And some of them don't have the little red mark underneath pop. And if they don't, then the grouping that they're considered is going to be the Marvel's Avengers Endgame. I have another one that's up there. That's just the Avengers, because that's the Thor. That's the one he's part of. He's not part of the Endgame poses. So that's going to be a little bit of the difference right there. Now, the other one is when they're on the left side is pop, and it has a little red bar, and it's going to say the category. I have animation. I have rocks, which is the Selena. I have heroes, which are my DC versions, because DC obviously is not part of the Marvel collections. So, heroes, and then I have television. I have a couple from Modern Family, or a few of them. And then, of course, like I said, I have smaller ones, so I have the Keychains. It says pop, and it looks exactly like the other ones, it's just smaller, and it says Keychain on it. They have, I think it's like games, and they have games, I believe sci-fi is a topic, MLB, football, holidays, movies, because they have literally anything. If they can get their hands and turn it into something, they're going to do it. Because like I'm saying, they have games, so like video games, Ratchet and Clank I've seen at GameStop, Fantasia I've seen, a lot of those ones. GameStop has more of those. Cereal, because they make the cereal, like I said, they have the Captain Crunch, they have Silly Rabbit, Tricks are for kids, Lucky Charms, dude, they have all of those. They have the older models, the older ones too. Like I said, my little cousin, he has a lot of those ones. But you can pretty much find a lot of them, and that's all they are. And that's all to it. And you can spend a lot of money on these, because if you get into collecting these, eventually you'll find some that do cost some money, because there are some that costs like thousands, some that cost hundreds. It just depends on that make and model and how long ago it was made, and if there's a lot in circulation. So that's really all it is. That's really all what pops are, and that's all really what today was about. So thank you again for joining in on another episode of Random Talk Time. I hope everybody stays safe, stays healthy, and remember, health is wealth. Have a good day, y'all.